the fundamental unit of life. Okay, so to understand this, let us understand first the meaning of the lesson, I mean the name. Let us analyze the name. So the name of the chapter says Cell, the fundamental unit of life. So what is the meaning of fundamental? The meaning of fundamental means it's the main, the basic, right? The basic element that makes the life. Okay? That is unit. What is the meaning of unit? Unit means single. Right? It means the cell is the single and the basic unit of life, means that makes up the life. Right? So as we know that living organism, there are organisms which are of diverse types. Some are unicellular microscopic organisms, some are multicellular complex organisms like the plants and the animals, including human beings. So all these organisms, they are made up of cells, right? So why cell is considered to be the fundamental unit of life? The cell is considered to be the fundamental unit of life as it can perform all the basic processes of life, right? All the basic processes of life. All the basic processes of life means you have been studying from your junior class. What are the characteristics of life? I mean the living organism. That living organism can reproduce, living organism can move, living organism grow. Yes or no? In your junior classes you have studied. So how are living organisms able to perform all these activities? Like ability to speak, ability to talk, ability to respond or move or to reproduce, etc. Right? So all these basic processes are performed by each and every cell. That is why it is considered to be the fundamental unit of life. Unit means single. Right? In case of multicellular organism, many cells will group or they will combine together, they will differentiate and they will form a multicellular body. Right? Many cells will organize, they will form tissues. Many tissues will organize, they will form organ and the organ system. So this is how it works in case of the multicellular complex body. But even in case of a unicellular organism, say some bacteria or a protist, do they reproduce? Unicellular organism? Do they reproduce? Yes, of course they reproduce. Every living organism reproduce. Every living organism respire. Every living organism undergo nutrition in order to stay alive, right? So as every single cell can perform all these basic processes of life, thus cell is considered to be the fundamental unit of life. So what are those processes? Say number one, respiration. Say number one, respiration. Number two, nutrition. Excretion. Excretion. Number four, you can say reproduction. Reproduction. Then response to stimuli is also one of the very important process. Response to stimuli. Response to stimuli or stimuli means they can respond to their external environment, right? They can respond. If you see me in trouble, you respond or not? Because we are human beings and we are also a social organism. The human beings are called as what? Social animal, because we live in a society, we live in a group of people. That's why emotionally also we are connected. Likewise, living organism, they respond to chemicals, they respond to their external environment like the heat, the water quality, like whether it's saline or it's it's very cold, right? So every cell, they can also respond to stimuli, means their external environment. They can reproduce, they can make their copy, they multiply so as to continue life on earth. Right? Out of these various processes, for example, reproduction is not important for life. Without reproduction also organism can survive, yes or no? But without respiration and nutrition can organism survive? No. Organism cannot survive without respiration, means without oxygen or without nutrition, because nutrition gives energy and this energy is required by the living cell or the body for its physiological process. So without this process, life cannot exist. But reproduction, in the other hand, is a process without which life can remain. I mean the organism can remain alive, but it is very important for the continuity of life on earth. Right? As every organism is immortal or mortal. Every living organism is mortal. Mortal, that is, organism they die after certain period of time, after completing its lifespan. The organism die naturally. Right? Okay, so that is about our lesson, that is the cell, the fundamental unit of life. So have you understood, everyone? Yes. Okay, very good. Now, after this, now let us understand what is this cell made up of. Can anyone tell me?
Cell organelles.
Yes?
Cell organelles.
Yes, very good. My question is, what is cell made up of? As we have learned about cell, that cell is the basic unit of life. Now let us know what is this cell made up of. Right? What is this cell made up of? As Pranay has said. Your Pranay? Okay. So as Pranay has said, that cell is made up of what? Cell organelles. Yes, very good. Can you name some cell organelles?
Mitochondria, ribosomes.
Yes.
Lysosome.
Golgi apparatus.
Yes.
Vacuole.
Vacuoles, nucleus, etc. Okay, very good. So these are the various cell organelles that makes up the cell. For example, in a multicellular body, we have organ like heart, brain, or lungs, kidney, liver, etc. So all these perform certain functions. Okay, in order to maintain life. Likewise, in a single cell also, there are various cell organelles, including the nucleus, which you can say as the brain of the cell or the main control center of the cell. Then it has the cell cytoplasm, the medium at which the other organelles are present, right? And it has a cell membrane, which is very important, that separates one cell from the other, right? And apart from that, it also acts as a semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane means it allows the entry and exit of the molecules selectively, right? So that is the function of cell membrane, right? So it's very correct that the cell is made up of cell organelle, right? But now let us go beyond this. Go beyond this means let us enter more deeper into the topic. Now let us know, what are these organelles even made up of? What are these organelles even made up of? So cell organelle, then we have a cell here, right? So say this arrow goes here. So cell is made up of cell organelle, and what is this cell organelle made up of?
Chemical substances.
Yes, very good, Pranay, very good. Cell is made up of chemical substances. What are these chemical substances called? Biomolecules. As it is present in a living cell, so we call it as biomolecules. What are chemicals? In chemistry, you learn the lesson, the matter around us. Have you learned it?
Yes.
The matter are in the form of solid, liquid and gas, and they are made up of elements and compounds. Am I right? So these elements and compounds are also the chemical substances, right?
Yes.
Yes, very good. So the cell organelle even are made up of the biomolecules. Biomolecules, it can be given different names. Biomolecules, why I am considering biomolecules, means they are made up of elements and compounds. They are made up of molecules, as because they are present or they are derived from a living cell, we call it as biomolecule. Means they are made up of elements and compounds or the biomolecules. And what are these biomolecules? Proteins. Proteins. What are those biomolecules? They are the proteins, then the lipids, then the nucleic acids, carbohydrates, etc. So these are the various molecules that makes up the cell. And if we analyze, even if we go even further, proteins, lipids, molecules, what are proteins made up of? What are lipids made up of? What are nucleic acids made up of? These are the biomolecules, as I said. Biomolecules makes up the cell organelles and then the cell. Then what are these substances made up of? These are made up of elements and compounds. These are made up of elements. What are the various elements present there? In protein. So let us take the example of protein. Protein is the polymer of amino acid, right? And amino acid contains what are the elements that amino acid contains? Carbon, hydrogen, then oxygen, right? And there are R group, like the carbon will contain COOH group, alpha carbon, COOH group it will contain, then it will contain an amino group, NH2, and here 1H, and these are variable, means there are 20 known amino acids that makes up the protein. There can be more amino acids, but 20 amino acids are known till now, which contributes or which involves in the synthesis of protein. Are you understanding my point? So these are something which is not there in the syllabus, which is not explained. But I am trying you to connect your topic from one to the other, one subject to the other. Because biology and chemistry, they go parallelly, they go hand in hand. To know biology, you should learn chemistry. In chemistry also there is a part, there is a branch of chemistry called organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is only about the biomolecules, right? And even if you pursue your higher studies in biology, you have to take along your subject chemistry. May not be the physical chemistry, but biochemistry or the organic chemistry you have to master yourself. Because our body is also controlled by chemicals. We in fact completely is made up of chemicals. But what kind of chemicals? Biochemicals, you can say. Why biochemicals? As it is derived from a living cell. So in higher class, in class maybe 10 or 12, you will learn how life has originated. Okay? About the history, you can say, or how life has originated on Earth, how evolution took place, and how multicellular complex body came into existence. So it's a long story, and of course we shall be discussing in coming days, or maybe in class 10 or later on. It has a separate topic, so I shall not go into that right now. So let us stick to it as it is connected now, and also in class 9 we have a lesson matter around us. You have a lesson to learn about elements and compounds. You have learned important elements in the periodic table. Yes or no? So out of which some elements, for example, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. How many elements now? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And one more element, that is phosphorus. Phosphorus is present in the nucleic acid. Can you tell me the name of one nucleic acid? What is that? DNA. Yes, very good. DNA. So DNA is actually what? DNA is the biomolecule, which is a nucleic acid that contains all these elements, including the phosphorus. So you can say, okay, excuse me.
Then in your two students will come. One will allowing this.
Yes. So you can see here, as I said, phosphorus. So these five are the basic elements that take up, that makes up the light. You can see, right? So this is how it has come into. We have come into the topic about what cell is made up of, about the cell organelle. So in your lesson, you will only learn about the cell organelle, different cell organelles that are present in a cell, types of cell, okay, and that's it. But not about biomolecules or elements and compounds. Just I want to make sure that you connect your concept to the other subject maybe, or also to the other topic. Because in biology it's all about connections. It's all about the concept that take you from one topic to the other. You cannot ignore by saying that it's not in our syllabus. You have to go beyond it. Am I clear? As we have a sufficient time now, more or less we have covered some lessons through online also, but need not worry, we will do it in offline as well. So all of you are clear now? Okay, so is there any doubt? Okay, about DNA, about nucleic acid, protein, lipids, all this has a separate branch of biology in a separate lesson. Okay, so today I shall not be explaining all this. Is it clear, everyone? Okay. So then let us move forward. Before we move, if there is any question or if someone would like to ask something, you can ask me. Where are you from?
I came from West Bengal, but I am settled here.
Your parents have come here. Okay, your parents were working there.
No, ma'am, they were also working in West Bengal. We were together, but here we all the family.
You shifted permanently. Okay, so very good. You are a good girl. Your brother is in 11th science. Okay, very good. And anything else you want to ask? You and your brother only, or you have sister also? Only two. So presently you are in Kokrajala town or anything else? Is it okay? So now we will move to the next topic. Before we go to the next topic, let us know about how are cells classified. Okay? How are cells classified means cells are basically of two types. I am not talking about its shape and size. Okay? Shape and size, those are some physical difference you can say. Physical difference like cell. I mean, cell can be of various shape, like vibrio shape, coma shape, or spiral shape, rod shape, oval shape like coccus. In class 8 you have studied about the various shape and size of a cell. So I am not talking about that. So cells basically are classified on the basis of the presence and absence of nucleus, on the basis of presence and absence of nucleus, or membrane bound organelle. Membrane bound organelle. Right? So these are the two bases on which the cell is classified majorly as number one, prokaryotic, and number two as eukaryotic. Very good. Right? So cell is majorly classified as prokaryotic and eukaryotic type based on nucleus and its membrane bound cell organelle. By now you know already what is the meaning of cell organelle? Yes or no? Cell organelle are the various components that are present in the cell and that makes up a cell. Yes? Okay. So as different organelles play very important role for the functioning or for keeping the cell alive, Apart from that, and also as I mentioned, nucleus is very important as it is the main control unit, right? But some cells do not have a well-formed nucleus. Of course, they have a nucleus-like structure, which is called a nucleoid region, right? Which contains the chromosome, and chromosome contains the DNA. DNA has the blueprint or has the master copy entirely about the cell. So what cell, about the nature of the cell, or what the cell is going to synthesize, or how the cell is going to perform. So this entire information is present in the DNA, right? So as I said, that nucleus is not well formed in some of the cells. They have a single circular DNA, and it's a simple single chromosome. Whereas in eukaryotic type of cell, the nucleus is well formed, well membrane bound, okay, and chromosome number is also double. Apart from that, the eukaryotic cell also contains various membrane bound cell organelles, including the mitochondria, chloroplast, then it contains the endoplasmic reticulum, etc. Okay, so you can say that eukaryotic type of cell is more advanced, whereas prokaryotic cell is primitive type of cell, which is less advanced, simple, and does not have well formed membrane bound organelles as well as the nucleus. Okay, so that is the basic difference. Is it clear to everyone? Okay, now let us see one by one of them in detail about the nature, or what are the various characteristics of a prokaryotic cell, or what are prokaryotic cells. So let me go to the lesson diversity in living organism, which I have taught in my online class. How many of you have learned that lesson, diversity in living organism? But now this lesson is deleted for this session. Diversity of living organism lesson, you remember?
Yes.
Yes. So organisms are classified into how many kingdoms? 5 kingdoms. Can you name those 5 kingdoms?
Animal kingdom.
You go from the small, you go in ascending order. Before that, Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Right? So 5 major kingdoms. What are those? Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. So why I am recalling those names? To make you understand. So these 5 major kingdoms were based on their cell complexity. Yes or no? First of all, what are the basis of classification? Whether they are single cell or multi-cell. Right? Out of single cell, which groups are the single cell organism? Moneran and the protistans. And the rest, fungi, plantae, animalia, they are the multicellular groups. So the monerans and the protistans, they are the unicell group of organisms, like the bacteria, or maybe the protist like the amoeba or the paramecium, etc. Right? So out of this single cell group, what is their difference? Out of this single cell, Monera and Protista, what is the difference? Yes. The monerans, they are having prokaryotic type of cell. Example, the bacteria. Whereas the protistans, they are eukaryotic type of cell. Though they are unicellular, but they are eukaryotic type of cell. So that is the main difference. So this is why I recall those the lesson and just discussed about the classification of the organism into various kingdoms. Right. So it means monerans only have the prokaryotic type of cell, and the rest, including the multicellular organism, have eukaryotic cell, including the human beings. Right. Now let us see about the prokaryotic cell. Let us take an example of a bacteria. Right. So as a prokaryotic cell are simple, they have an outer layer which is known as the cell envelope. Right. A prokaryotic cell example, let us take an example of a bacteria. Right? So they have an outer layer of cell which is known as the cell envelope. Right? The cell envelope and an inner layer, the cell membrane. So this cell membrane is common, it is present in eukaryotic cell also. Right? Cell membrane. So apart from cell membrane, they also have a cell envelope which has various layers. Okay, layer contain the glycocalyx layer, the outermost layer, then the middle layer is the cell wall. Okay, they may also contain the cell wall and then the cell membrane. So inside it, as I mentioned, they do not have nucleus, but their chromosome are not scattered here and there. Okay, the chromosome are single and they are found in a fixed place, say suppose in a fixed place, and this is known as nucleoid. E-O-I-D, nucleoid. Okay, and this contains the chromosome. Right, so this is one feature of a prokaryotic cell. Example, the bacteria, they have the single chromosome which is present in a fixed place called the nucleoid region, and they do not have any cell organelle except for ribosomes. They have ribosomes. Okay, so they have ribosomes and they have other structure like the inclusion bodies. Inclusion bodies means the inclusion body can be in the form of vesicles, can be in the form of tubules, or can be in the form of lamellae. So all these structure you need not worry now for your level, but at least you can remember that in the form of vesicle, lamella or tubule, they help in secretion, synthesization and even duplication or multiplication of the cell. So it helps them in various purposes, or even for the synthesis of the cell wall. As I mentioned, they have a cell envelope which contains the cell wall and the glycocalyx layer. So I am writing only cell wall. So this layer collectively is known as cell envelope. So this cell envelope provides protection to the cell as they are unicellular organism. So this cell wall provides them protection. That is why there are some bacteria, they can even remain alive in extreme heat. Okay, extremely means in hot spring, and even in extreme saline condition also some of the bacteria they can survive because of the type of outermost layer they have which protect them from desiccation or from injury or from whatever condition. Am I clear? So that is it. Apart from that, some prokaryotic cell may contain also the flagella or the cilia for their locomotion. Okay, locomotion means movement. Some may use cilia, small hair-like substances, small hair-like substances that help in their movement, right? So those are known as cilia or flagella. So cilia and flagella are the locomotory organs. They are locomotory in nature. Locomotion or locomotory means they help them to move from one place to another. Okay? Apart from cilia and flagella, they have additionally two more structure called pili and fimbri. Pili and fimbri, which are not locomotory. They may be like brush-like structures. Say for example in this diagram. So this can be the pili or fimbri. They are brush-like structure. They do not help in movement, but they help them in their anchorage. Anchorage means to attach on a substrate. Right? For example, a bacteria where it will stick. Suppose it has to stick on a wall or on a paper or on a wood or wherever. So these pili and fimbri help them for their anchorage to the substratum. Anchorage or to attach them into the substratum or to the body. Is it clear, everyone? Okay. So these are some features of a prokaryotic cell. So prokaryotic are very simple. They are primitive type. Their size is also small comparatively, Example of prokaryotic cell are the bacteria, or more particularly you can say the kingdom Monera, right? So kingdom Monera have a prokaryotic type of cell which do not have a well-formed nucleus and cell organelle. They do not have cell organelle except for ribosomes. Okay, they only have the ribosome and the nuclear region that contains a single chromosome. And apart from that, some they may have their own DNA. DNA, for example, the plasmid. If you can remember, the plasmid DNA. Apart from the genomic DNA, the prokaryotic cell also contains the DNA called the plasmid DNA, single circular DNA. And this plasmid DNA has the genes that is resistant to antibiotics. Antibiotics, you know, the chemical that kills the bacteria. So this plasmid DNA, they contain the antibiotic resistance gene. So in the field of molecular biology or in the field of genetic engineering, these plasmids are of great help. These plasmids are of great help for the construction of new DNA, recombinant DNA technology. So now you will not learn about it, it's there in class 12. But just for your understanding, if you can remember, that's why I mentioned it, plasmid DNA, which are also present in the prokaryotic cell, and they are now used for recombinant DNA technology. Why and how you will learn in the future. Am I clear, everyone? So this is it about the prokaryotic cell. So in our next class, we shall learn about the eukaryotic cell. Am I clear, everyone? Okay. So with this, I end today's explanation. I hope you have learned it. Now it's your time. If you have any question or doubt, you can ask me now. Do you have any question? Yes.
We have only 32 chromosomes in one cell or in the whole body.
Yes. Sit down. In a cell. Right? In a cell. See, chromosomes are always in set or in pair, like the socks. We wear the socks always in pair, right? So chromosome is always in pair in a diploid organism. Okay, in a diploid organism. So all organisms are diploid. All organism means there are some differences in case of some groups of plants. So that is different. I would not like to consider that right now. So what I was saying, that every cell, say this cell also can be diploid, and chromosome number is always constant. For example, human being have 46 number. This is constant. My chromosome is also 46. Your also is 46. It's constant. It will never change. If there is change, means there is abnormality. There are chromosomal abnormalities. For example, Klinefelter syndrome, Down syndrome. Okay, so these are some chromosomal disorder where chromosome number is not constant, not 46. It can be either 47 or 45. Right? So this chromosome number is constant, and this number is for human being. Likewise, other organisms like housefly, elephant, dog, they will also have their own constant number of chromosomes. Am I clear? Now, this chromosome number is for one cell. Like any cell that is extracted from my body, say suppose my skin cell, if it is extracted, then the chromosome number will be 46. Means one single cell contains 46 number of chromosomes for human beings. And for other organisms, the number will be different. Am I clear? Okay. So thank you so much for today.